Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Davidson. I'm from the Scottish Institute for Enterprise. Our outside world is changing at an amazing and phenomenal pace. We hear the changes, we experience the changes through a different myriad of channels, devices that impact upon our inside world 24/7. These changes bring both threats and opportunities, but it's really easy to feel overwhelmed by them. Sometimes it's just easier to sit back and think, I'll wait and see what happens, then I'll adapt. But sometimes these changes bring things that we don't want for ourselves and others. So how can we engage with this pace of change in the outside world in a way that makes us feel authentic, creative, resilient, and turns us into agile thinkers? How can we find our place in that world? And I'm going to suggest to you that the easiest and quickest way of doing this is to actually slow down. I work in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship, and everything I seem to read, hear, speak about 24/7 seems to have relevance for my job. And it's really hard to switch off, but the way I do it is through my practice of yoga. Yoga is an ancient practice, but it's begun a bit of a renaissance in recent years. At the end of 2016, the number of people practicing yoga globally were 36 million, an increase of 50% since 2012. So I'd like to think there's something in that, or maybe it's just my passion for yoga sort of shining through. But I want to borrow 3 concepts from yoga: stillness, finding space, and having the confidence to move forward, and hopefully relate those to innovation and entrepreneurship. So we're going to slow down. And the first thing we're going to look at is how can we find some stillness. Our breath has the power to transform a moment. The average person takes over 20,000 breaths a day. Our breath brings us into this world, and it takes us out of this world. So what will happen if we just take time to notice a few of these breaths? So I want to give you some tools and techniques I think might help you find that stillness, that space, and that ability to move forward with agile thinking. So this following exercise is not compulsory. You're welcome to observe, but I would invite you to take part in it. I'd like you just to sit in your chair, find a comfortable space. Okay. Now, what I'd suggest is that you can have your palms up on top of your knees. If you're feeling in need of some energy, that can be a really good way of invigorating yourself. If maybe you're feeling, where is this going? And I'm feeling a bit stressed, you can actually put your palms down on your knees just to feel that connection and feel a bit more grounded. And what I would like you to do is I'd like you just to take an in-breath and an out-breath and keep that going. Just concentrate on the breath coming into your body and the breath going out of your body. Don't force it. Your eyes can be closed, your eyes can be shut, I don't mind. But just a steady in-breath and a steady out-breath. Just allow your body to receive that breath. You can breathe in through your nostrils or your mouth, I don't mind. And don't force it. Sometimes when we see change, we force it, we grab at it, we sort of gulp at it. So just feel what it's like just to receive something naturally and calmly. And then you might start to feel the warm air as you breathe out around your nostrils or your lips. You might start to feel the cold air around your nostrils or lips as you breathe in. And sometimes at this stage it can be a good time to also work with colour. Some people think about breathing in a very positive colour. I'm breathing in green, I'm breathing out green. And some people also set themselves an affirmation. So as they breathe in, maybe you're breathing in positive energy, maybe you're breathing out positive energy. So this can be a nice calming exercise to do. And as you get more used to doing this, you can maybe breathe in for 2, you can breathe out for 2. Okay, could open your eyes if you've got them closed. Okay. But that can just be a nice way of finding some stillness in a moment. So how do we make some space? Okay, if we find that time just to be still, how do we make some space? It's estimated that many of us only use a fraction of our lung capacity. And in yin yoga, it's related to Chinese medicine, the lung chai, the energy around your lungs. It's linked to your head and clarity of thought, the ability to think clearly, make good decisions. So again, we can use the breath to do this. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about breathing in and filling up your lungs. Our lungs actually go up to the top of our collarbones. So breathe in, and then when you feel that you've actually reached the top of your collarbones, I'd like to feel if you can sip in a little bit more air and a little bit more air, and then I want you to let it out through your mouth in an enormous exhale. And if you want, you can stick your tongue out. And that exhale is going to get rid of all the clutter, all the rubbish from the week beforehand. Okay, so do this with me. Big in breath. A little bit more. A little bit more. Let it all go. Lion's breath. Okay, on your own time, couple more. Come on, let go of all the rubbish. Okay. Stick the tongue out. Lion's breath. Come on, you can do better than that. Couple more. Okay. You can practice that at home, okay? But again, just 2 little techniques allow you to find stillness and also to let go of some tension. Okay. So that is finding some stillness and finding some space. Both things we need if we are to be creative, resilient, and have clarity of thought. So I'd like also to come now to movement. Yoga is about movement. But in yoga, the postures are there to let us get into our mind. The space we find in the postures are there to help us find space in our mind. And learning in yoga is moving from moment to moment. Very rarely in yoga do we reach the big glory posture first time round. In fact, for some of us, we never will. But it's all about small movements every day that we practice, that we find some space in, that make us more flexible. And I think there's parallels there with every aspect of our life. So across different yoga disciplines, you'll come across things called warrior postures. And these tend to be really, really strong postures. Arms raised, they take up a lot of space, chest is open, powerful, strong, confident. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do these postures before you go into a difficult meeting or a difficult situation, but there is something we can borrow from the thinking behind these postures, this openness. If we go through life looking at change with our heads down, we're not going to observe things. People are not going to engage with us. So we need to move towards the pace of change, thinking like a warrior. So just sitting in your chair, I want you to think about how you can get that openness, that steady upward gaze. And the way we can do this, again, is just to sit still. And I want you to think about broadening across your collarbones, opening that chest, rolling your shoulder blades down your back, making sure your shoulders are not up around your ears. Okay? If you have that posture as you go forward, it's very difficult not to see people, engage with people. So move and think like a warrior. Sometimes in yoga, just as in life, to find our balance, we actually have to lose it. We have to be prepared to actually take one foot off the ground. In yoga, this is the tree posture. We've got a strong standing leg, and our arms are outstretched, and we have the capacity to sway in the wind. So don't do this now, but it's something to do at home, is practice standing on one foot. What keeps you upright? Practice with friends. Do you find yourself actually having to hold on to a friend? Do you find yourself laughing if you fall out of that? So again, the parallels with yoga are find your ground, find your core. Maybe it's your friends that keep you rooted. Maybe it's laughter that keeps you strong. But do not be afraid to lose your balance. In that way, we find balance going forward. And what I'd like to do is I'd like, again, just to take you through another little exercise which can give you that feeling of being grounded, but at the same time unconnected with something moving forward. And again, it's a nice little exercise to do as part of the breathing exercise we did earlier. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to bring very slowly the palms of your hands together, almost into a sort of prayer posture. And your hands can be just at your, what we call your heart center in yoga, just at your chest height, okay? I want you to start thinking about the heat that maybe you feel between the hands. Can you feel some energy? Some schools of thought think of the fingers as being electric rods. Now, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to keep the pinky and ring fingers together and release the other fingers. Okay, so it's just your pinky fingers and your ring fingers together, and your other fingers are not touching. Okay, so it's just 2 fingers touching. Okay, feel the sensation of the 2 fingers together, that connection. But feel the cold air moving through the palms of your hands. Do the other fingers still feel energized? You still feel connection with the energy tips of the other fingers. And then what I'd like you to do is I would like you to bring your middle fingers together and release the other fingers. Again, feel the energy, but also that sense of the cold air moving through the fingers that aren't connected. And just keep your breath nice and steady as you're doing this. Eyes can be closed or shut, but focus on the hands. And then I'd like you to bring your forefinger together and release the other fingers. And then I'd like you to bring your thumbs together and release the other fingers. And then I want you to go back the way you came. I want you to repeat that, going backwards until it's just your ring and pinky fingers joined together. Nice, steady breaths as you're doing it. Okay, so again, simple exercise. Stops me getting you all up to stand on one foot, but that's just something, again, that can be done to give you that period of centeredness when things are maybe getting a bit on top of you. I wasn't going to do this in front of you. As I said earlier, sometimes in yoga we don't reach that big posture first time round. It takes time. We practice. I've had a yoga teacher say to me, "Practice, Anne, and all is coming." And then she looks at me and says, "In another lifetime." And I know that I will never get into that posture, but that's not the point. Sometimes failing to take a risk is a risk in itself. And some of the postures that we do in yoga are quite risky. But what we do is we build up to them on a weekly, daily basis, small steps. Where can we find some space that we can move into? Where can we find some flexibility? And then we build up to the big posture. And I think that's parallels with our mindset going forward. Where can we find some space? Where can we take some small, agile steps that allows us to take a risk? Okay, so as somebody who practices yoga, to find the stillness, the space, and the ability not to be rooted to the spot and to move forward and embrace change, what do I see having looked in? Then I start to look out. This is some technology, some innovation from a company called Wearable X. These are vibrating yoga pants. They vibrate to get you into a posture, and their marketing says, no need for a yoga teacher. So I might feel slightly off balance. Oh, the competition. But then I look around and I see some great enabling technology. Artificial limbs that allow people to do yoga. And I think that's really powerful. So I work to find balance. I see the power of great technology, but equally I see the power of human input. And I find where I want to be within innovation and entrepreneurship, I find the balance. So inside out meets outside in. I think if you're to fully embrace what's happening outside, we have to look in. We have to find some stillness. We have to slow down. We have to make some space, and we have to move towards the future. So that's my message for you, drawn from my own personal experience working in innovation and entrepreneurship, but also blending that with my practice of yoga, is slow down. Take some time to find that stillness, to chill out, to clear your head, make some space, get rid of some of the rubbish, and move. Give yourself permission to make small, agile steps that get you towards that big outcome you want and move towards your future. Namaste.